Hello and welcome to number 61 of the TEW 2016 Challenge Run. We're here for SmackDown and 205 Live here today, week 2 August. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. SmackDown opens with Aleister Black in the Big Show's office. And Big Show tells him, last week you cut that promo saying that you'd take on whoever, whenever, for your WWE Championship because you're going to be the best champion in SmackDown history. Well, tonight's main event, we're going to put that to the test. We're going to find out who's going to SummerSlam to face you, Aleister Black. It'll be a fatal four-way. Finn Balor, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and Daniel Bryan. Where the winner, of course, as I said, goes to SummerSlam to be face you for the WWE Championship. Black sort of nods his head like, yeah, okay. Bring it on. So we're finding out tonight who will go to SummerSlam. But first of all, we've got a tag team match. The two SmackDown teams looking to have become just the women's tag team champions at SummerSlam. Alexa and Ember Moon defeat Kairi Sane and Io Shirai when Ember Moon pins Kairi Sane with an Eclipse. Because I feel like because they're just two best friends, they're not the actual tag team here. They need to get the win to cement them as actual credible challengers. So they had to do that at the expense of Kairi and Io, unfortunately. But now we have four teams on a very even playing field heading into SummerSlam. Randy Orton is backstage cutting a promo about the Fatal 4-Way tonight. He runs down Drew McIntyre and Daniel Bryan and Aleister Black. And he gets to Finn Balor and he says, well, I beat Finn Balor in the main event last week. Finn thought he could step to me, but he doesn't know what sort of a dangerous man I am. So if Balor knows what's best for him, he'll stay out of my way in that Fatal 4-Way tonight and let me go on to SummerSlam and defeat Aleister Black in the match I should have won at Crown Jewel, but I will now fulfill my prophecy at SummerSlam with the most dangerous three letters in WWE, RKO, blah 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 and all that typical Randy Orton stuff. Shayna and Liv have their match as set up last week, where Liv doesn't last long. She gets defeated in 3 minutes with the Kimura, just to give Shayna a nice strong win. And then she cuts a promo after the match on Ronda Rousey. She says, Ronda, last week you came out to attack me, and I just wanted to put this all behind us. I understand your frustrations with me because I choked you out on my first night here. So you're going to be mad, obviously, but listen, we're still the Four Horsewomen. We're still the MMA badasses that we know. So I apologise again for any actions. I do not wish to face you for my championship at SummerSlam, not because I'm scared of you, but because I don't want to fight my friend. So it's up to you to decide whether or not you think Shayna is ducking Ronda because she's scared of her. It seems that way, certainly. Andrade has a match with Jinder Mahal, and he defeats Jinder with the Hammerlock DDT, giving him a nice strong win here on SmackDown. A victory over a former WWE champion, I'll have you know. But after the match, Zelina and Andrade are celebrating their victory when he's jumped from behind by Rowan. Of course, Daniel Bryan sending Rowan on Andrade because Bryan and Andrade still not getting along. They're still at a bit of war because of what Bryan did to Zelina Vega. And it looks like Andrade is going to get the upper hand on Rowan when another man jumps out of the crowd and jumps up behind Andrade and helps Rowan and assists him in beating down Andrade. That man reveals himself to be this man, Riker. Former Jackson Riker, but if he's going to be with Rowan, I feel like he should just be Riker at this point. So he's here. He was pestering me in emails to come up, and I had no idea what to do with him, because the Forgotten Sons is a shit stable, and I'm not going to use them. So he's here. He's now another vegan Daniel Bryan guy. Jackson Riker, Rowan, and Daniel Bryan. So Riker and Rowan beat up Andrade and stand tall over his lifeless bodies. They've done the deed for their boy, Daniel Bryan. AOP versus the Snake Busters yet again. AOP finally get their clean one-on-one pinfall victory over R-Truth and Curtis Axel. I say clean, it's not really clean because Apollo Crews, Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley get on the mic and start taunting R-Truth and Curtis Axel during the match, which leads to AOP defeating them with the last chapter. And after the match, Lio Rush, who was embarrassed after getting beat by R-Truth last week, stands outside the ring and demands for Apollo and Lashley to get in there and beat up Truth and Axel. Does it look like they're going to do so? Kevin Owens runs out with a steel chair from the back, takes it to the back of Bobby Lashley and to the back of Apollo Crews, neutralizing the threats. And then Lio Rush will try and back away, but he'd back into R-Truth and Axel, who toss him back into the ring, and Owens would hit Lio Rush with the stunner, which he'd sell like death. Because that's the sort of thing that I can trust Lio Rush to do. Buddy Murphy and Robert Roode off the hot angle last week with the 6 IC title challenges. Murphy cements himself on SmackDown Live here with a win over the former Intercontinental Champion, former United States Champion. And he's on a roll. But who is looking to be the one to get the Intercontinental Championship match at SummerSlam? We're still yet to know. Kathy Kelly's in Gorilla with Finn Balor. And she's like, before you go out there for your match, I want to get any comments on what Randy Orton said about you earlier on tonight. And Balor's like, I can't hide. Randy Orton beat me last week fair and square. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for that. But Orton's calling himself the scariest man on SmackDown Live. Or like he's a dangerous viper ready to strike at any point. What Orton may not know is that I have my dark side too. And I can take the fight to him if I really want to. So Orton said it's within my best interests to not get in his way. I think for Randy Orton's sake, he shouldn't get in my way. Obviously teasing that a demon may have to come out if Orton gets too pushy. But we have the Fatal 4-Way main event. It gets an 88B. Drew McIntyre defeats Randy Orton, Finn Balor and Daniel Bryan. And he pins Finn Balor with a Claymore. Meaning at SummerSlam, Drew McIntyre will be the one to face Aleister Black for the WWE Championship. These ratings, 93, 90, 92 and 94. This should have been like an A-star. Why is this not? Penalised for announcer chemistry. Corey Graves and Byron said that's never popped up before. The game has just made that up right now just to give me something to dig this match for. I knew Tom and Corey had the pretty good chem. That always popped up. Corey Graves and Byron Saxton, that's never popped up before. This is the first time I've seen it. The game has literally just pulled it out of its arse in this match to try and piss me off. Anyway, 87B+, which I guess is a respectable show. We now know who's going to SummerSlam to face Aleister Black. And that is Drew McIntyre. And a lot of other stories advancing here tonight. And a lot of seeds planted for stuff that may happen in the future. Starting next week. But before we get to next week, we have to deal with our flippy friends over on the Purple brand. And here we are with some 205 Live action. We start off with Rey Mysterio's second singles match here on 205 Live against Eric Young. They don't seem to click, so they have a shit match. I don't know what else I expected from Eric Young. He's not very good. He's a bit shite. And yeah, he's just here to make up numbers. But Rey Mysterio beats him. After the match, Rey grabs a mic. He cuts an impassioned promo about how back in the original brand split, he was like the face of the cruiserweight division. And he goes down as one. A lot of people call him one of the greatest cruiserweights of all time. So when he saw that the cruiserweight division was thriving once again here in WWE, he knew that he had to come and be a part of it. And then Paige would come out and she'd be like, Rey, that's a lovely speech. I'm tearing up. Obviously being sarcastic to him. And saying, well, basically, Rey, there's a reason why you used to be one of the greatest cruiserweights of all time. That's because you were. But in this current day and age, let's face it, Rey, with all this young, hungry talent. You can't keep up anymore. You couldn't keep up on SmackDown Live. That's why you thought you'd come to 205 Live to try and be that big fish in the small pond that stood out. But now you're going to realise that the athletes here on 205 Live are a hell of a lot better than the athletes you were competing with back in 2003. And at SummerSlam, the real greatest cruiserweight champion of all time, Tyler Bate, is going to expose you for the fraud you are. And then get a tag team showcase match for tag team points on the scoreboard. Gulak and Daivari get the win over Jack Gallagher and Morgan Webster, scoring them their points for the board. We then get a little backstage segment, Angelico and Humberto Carrillo just having a chat about their recent down on their luck form as a tag team, and Humberto wishes Angelico luck in his match coming up next against Angel Garza, and that once he wins his night they can get the tag team thing going and ride the wave of momentum that Angelico will create. The Hurricane's in his office when he hears him off camera. He pans across, it's Bobby Lashley, Lio Rush, and Apollo Crews. And Leo was like, well, I don't know if you've been noticing, Hurricane, but myself and the almighty Bobby Lashley and Apollo, we've been tearing it up on SmackDown Live. We even scored a pinfall victory over Kevin Owens at Crown Jewel. And we've got this, Bobby Lashley's bum bent over, by my side, but yet I'm still forced to come and work here for 205 Live and be a part of this roster, even though I'm the man of the hour. I'm far too big of a star to be on the show. And the Hurricane's like, we've got fucking Rey Mysterio. You're not bigger star than him. Yeah, you're still on this show. We haven't traded you to SmackDown Live or anything. You're still obligated to wrestle here as well as you can still do your appearance on SmackDown. And quite frankly, you're going to have a match next week because I'm sick of your attitude. Leo's like, who's my opponent going to be, Hurricane? And he's like, well, we'll find out next week, won't we, Leo? And Lio Rush storms out. So yeah, he's got a match next week on 205 Live, just for being a dick. Main event, 64C, that's a pretty good match. They've got pretty good chemistry. Angel Garza defeats Angelico when Humberto Carrillo, he turns on Angelico and aligns with his cousin in a move I'm sure nobody saw coming. And then the two handsome Hispanic dickheads pose to end the show, which scores a 65C. I think that's not bad for a 205 Live, but it's what we get anyway. And that's the end of episode 61. And we'll see you next time for the next episode of Monday Night Raw. See you then.